What if you took all of the flavors and textures of a delightful trip to your local Mexican restaurant and instead turned them into a lasagna type casserole? Well, we'd call it a taco bake, and we'd also call it pretty damn delicious. Let's make one. All right, first off, we're going to grab 2 pounds of relatively lean ground beef. Of course, you can always drain the fat out if you get like some 80-20. I think this is 85-15, but I'm going to go ahead and brown that off in a large skillet over medium-high heat. And by the way, a potato masher makes an absolutely great tool to crush up ground beef if you don't have anything special for the job. Next up, we'll add in about half a cup of pre-bought taco seasoning, or you can make your own. We've done that here on the channel before. We'll link a little recipe down below if you'd like to make your own. Add in a splash of water to get those spices and seasonings thoroughly spread throughout that meat. And next up, we'll add in 1 can of black beans that we've drained and rinsed. And we'll add in most of 1 jar of salsa. You could use chunky or restaurant style if you prefer that. Really does not matter here. It's just going to add some body and great tomato flavor, as well as some garlic and other spices. Next up, we'll grab a 13x9 baking dish, and we're going to take some burrito shells. I've cut this one into quarters. We're just going to use that to go ahead and cover up the corners and put down a bottom layer of burrito shells. Then we'll take one that's been cut in half and flip it so that the straight edges are along the bottom and top of the baking dish. We'll add in half of our ground beef, bean, and salsa mixture and just spread that into an even layer. Next up, we're going to add another layer of burrito shells. Here again, cut in half, 1 on top, 1 on bottom, and then I'm going to put 1 on each side, or I should say half on each side. And I did go ahead and cut those corners off just so they fit nicely, but you'll have to doctor yours up depending on the size of your baking dish and the size of your burritos. For our middle cheese layer, I'm going with some cheese dip. This would be considerably easier to spread were it hot, but this was just straight out of the jar, so to speak, and went ahead and put in a few ounces. Again, all the exact amounts and instructions will be down below. Followed by a sprinkling of some pre-grated farm-style Mexican cheese. As I often say, I'm not a big fan of pre-grated cheese, but this stuff is just too convenient considering it's got cheddar and Monterey Jack and Colby and all that stuff in one bag. So we'll put down a few ounces of that. For some texture, I'm going in with some crumbled and crunched up tortilla chips. That part's totally optional, but they do add a nice little crunchy bite right in the middle there. Next up, we'll go ahead and lay on the other half of our ground beef, bean, and salsa mixture. Make sure to get it as evenly spread out as possible. Once that's done, we've got to top this thing up. So 1 last layer of those halved burrito shells or tortilla wraps, whatever you want to call them. And finally, we'll add another layer of nacho cheese sauce, as well as another sprinkling of that Mexican cheese blend. And then as far as other toppings go, you can get pretty creative here, but I like some black olives and some pickled jalapeños. Kind of helps with a little nacho theme, plus the acidity and brine really helps to cut through the richness of that cheese and meat, as you'll see here in just a moment. We'll preheat our oven to 375 and pop that in for 25 to 30 minutes. Everything in there is really pretty well cooked, of course. We're just looking for a beautiful golden brown crust, which we've achieved there, as well as to make sure all the cheese in the middle is melted and warmed through. Got a nice little bit of bubbly grease on the edge there. That's quite all right. It's going to be one tasty corner piece. I'm going straight for that. Now you do have to let this cool or at least sit for 15 to 20 minutes. Otherwise, it's going to run all over the place when you try and cut it, but my patience was rewarded with a beautiful cross section right there. Got some gooey cheese, some beautiful perfectly formed layers. I can't have anything Mexican or taco themed without some sour cream and a little bit of hot sauce. This is Tapatio, but some Texas Pete would be just fine as well. And I gotta hit it with a little bit of cilantro. Definitely optional, but a little pop of green color never hurt any plate of food. And let's give this a try. Aside from being extremely easy to make and rather economical when you consider how many folks this could feed, it's just really, really tasty. It's like a delicious burrito, but got some crunchy edges there from being baked in that casserole dish. Those jalapenos and olives really do add a nice briny, salty punch right there on the top. Give this a try, garnish it however you'd like. As always, make it your own, but at the very least, it's your turn to go make something delicious.